So hello everybody. Good day. This is the second part of our discussion. Just a background of what happened during the first part. We have discussed information literate writer, the characteristics and the rules as an information literate writer. For all you know, um, there are Google Forms that you need to access, and you have to supply the needed details there for me to identify that you can really understand the things that I am discussing. Okay? So, let us move forward with another topic that we need to discuss, the principles of technical writing. And let me share the PowerPoint presentation. Okay. So principles of technical writing. What do we mean by principles? Principles are the foundation. Principles are the definition. Principles are the things that we need to enliven all throughout when we talk about technical writing. This is the background. This is the foundation. So when we say or when we are talking about technical writing, it should have this principle. First principle that we are going to talk about is unity. Your composition or your paragraphs should have unity. What do we mean by unity? In writing, unity means that each paragraph should have a main idea. Main idea is important every time you are going to construct a business correspondences, or even an essay, or everything related to writing. Main paragraph will be the highlight of your composition. You have to remember that every detail should describe or should underline with the main idea. We can also call main idea as what's this? Gist. Okay. So the main idea or the topic sentences that you have here should have unity. That is why if you can still remember, you should remember the purpose of why you are writing, because the central idea should be expressed in every topic sentences that you have. So if your goal or your purpose of writing is about a particular situation, all of the supporting details that you have should be related or connected to that idea. That is unity. Mainly, unity can be observed through the relationship of the words that you were using and its meaning to the main idea, its relationship to the main idea. Next is we have coherence. What do we mean by coherence? Every composition, I guess, the teacher would write their coherence and organization. Coherence is how we describe the subject matter that we are discussing, or else the main idea that we have, how we describe it. The function of each words present in the composition should be coherent to each other. So we should have some outline so that the sentences that we have can have unity. The sentences that you're going to draft can have unity, because all together, all the elements, if we're going to combine it all together, it should have produce one meaning to make it united, or to make the central or the main idea that you have would be coherent to the topic or the purpose that you were trying to write or that you were trying to say. Lastly, we have emphasis. In writing or even in speech, I really like this technique or style, putting up some emphasis to the words or to the content words, because emphasis would really help us to understand the meaning. How are we going to put up emphasis to every words that we are writing? We can change the format by underlining just like that, or um changing the format into bold letters, or you can italicize, or you can strike through the word. But remember, every format that you're going to use, it have different weight of emphasis. It have different prominence in the composition that you have. That is why the repetition of keywords, I really love to highlight keywords. I really like to ask, I am always asking my student to to write down keywords rather than copying everything that I am posting or giving, because it is tiresome to write everything that is already written on the book. The important thing here is how your teacher explain things and give emphasis. You can really observe emphasis in the discussion. Laging inuulit yan to give highlight. And even in your writing, you should learn how to do emphasis. You should learn how to emphasize. Most probably, it is about the purpose of why you are writing. The emphatic spot, the most emphatic spot, or the most important place wherein you can put emphasis of your words is the last part of your composition or the ending sentences. How are you going to end your composition? It would really attract the reader. It would really mean to your composition. So emphasis for me is from the big, you can use the technique or strategy of putting up emphasis in the beginning or at the end of the of the compositions that you have. Even in technical writing, you should know about the unity of the words, the unity of the topic, or the unity of each sentences related or connected to the topic. Coherence is how you explain. Okay, it is about the meaning. What you mean, the word, in the coherence, the words that you're going to use should be coherent with the meaning that you were trying to express to other people or share to other people. So these things are the most important principles or the things that you have to consider in technical writing. Next, we have annotation. Let me clear the annotation. Okay. Next is we have characteristics of technical writing. Okay. There are 3 characteristics. Other than thinking of you should the content that you should have the content that you wrote should have unity, coherence, and emphasis. You also have to think the purpose of why you are writing. The purpose that we have sets as goal in writing. So, as goal is concerned, okay, in writing, this one, Allows us to provide accuracy in our information because we have guidelines. We are following a particular objective. That is why objectivity is very important. Next is formality. Formality, meaning the tone, the language that you're going to use is objective. If it is objective, it is formal. If it is subjective, it is informal. Remember that in technical writing, even though we really like to express how we feel, we should stylize our language because we have different frames, we have different situations that we need to think of or we need to consider. Next is clarity, like what they have what like the quotation would mean less blank, less mistake. So that is the question number 5. So you complete that statement. For the question number 5, please complete this statement. So if we are talking about clarity, if we are talking about simplicity, if we are talking about directness, being straightforward every time you consider technical writing, you also consider this quotation. So this is question number 5. Less blank, less blank. What is that? So that quotation would really define or would really explain simplicity in writing. You have to choose proper words to express your concern. But your concern must be directly expressed. Kung ano lang yung gusto mong sabihin, kung ano lang yung purpose mo, ayun lang dapat yung content. Wala nang additional or unnecessary words or unnecessary explanation. Because you need to be professional. So, parang sinasabi na we don't care about your we don't care about uh the situation, we care about the result. So, parang ganun siya. So, anong ano yun? Anong quotation yun? Less blank, less blank. It is about the clarity of your composition. Okay. Next is the conciseness, brevity, economy. Because we are looking forward to a particular purpose, the things that we're going to say or the message that we are going to send to our audience should be short but clear. Clear and short. So it is somewhat related with the clarity and how you discuss things. But for the conciseness, it is about the words that you're going to use. I am guilty about this. If it is an essay, some of the instructions, if you're doing an essay, is you have to provide 200 to 500 words. No, meron tayong ganun technical or meron tayong ganun mechanics. But you have to remember, in technical communication, no matter how simple or no matter how short your sentences or your composition or your letters, what is important there is the meaning or your concern. So, hindi naman kailangan maging 3 paragraphs yan, no? To follow introduction, body, and conclusion. What is important in business technical writing or in technical writing is you have a limit. You limit yourself from expanding or giving so much information that is not necessary in the context. So, those are the characteristics of business technical writing. Now, since we already talk about characteristics, we also have to consider that we have technical styles versus technical format. For the technical style, Of course, for us to have a clarity, simplicity, we should use simple English. We do not have to complicate things. Okay? Even though experts of experts, you're writing for experts of experts. In technical writing, what is important is the grammar and the message. So you should have you should use simple English. There are some memorandums, announcement na mapapaisip talaga yung audience. Parang pinahirapan talaga yung audience. It is a no-no in technical writing. In technical writing, the simpler words that you are going to say, the better. No, it doesn't, I mean, we do not need to give our reader a hard time to look for the words that you were using. It will be useless. Ang mangyayari niyan, magkakaroon ng misinterpretation because hindi mo ginamit yung language ng audience mo. Later, we're going to discuss about audience, the importance of audience in technical writing. Next, in technical writing style, we have to consider business technical terms. So there are words that we cannot use in formal writing. Just like instead of saying, I'm sorry, it is better to say, I apologize. So we are going to study about that matter. Actually, you can find those things online, but still you have to check if your sources is valid or are valid or reliable. Appropriate word choice, language use. Okay, in technical style, you have to be careful with your language use. Maybe you are describing a particular object or for example, an item. Kayo, you have to parang you have to describe a particular item to be posted in an online shopping application. The description should be understandable by your audience, not by experts. So sometimes we have to adjust our language. Technical format. Format is about the things that you're going to write, the outline, how are you going to write the outline. So we have three-part format: introduction, body, conclusion. So it is a cliche to discuss this because we all know that in the introduction you can put there your main idea. In the body, you are going to put there your supporting details. For the conclusion, you are going to conclude or summarize the things that you have discussed or your concern. Okay? And in technical format, don't rely on using paragraphs because you can use tables to represent values, but not I mean, you cannot apply that in all cases. You have to still determine there are informations that would be better if you're going to put it in a table rather than in a paragraph. It is better to put it in an outline instead of giving them the full text. So students like you, I know that it really stresses you out to see long texts or long narratives. So the teacher would categorize or would arrange the information in this way. You can use graphic organizers, tables, diagram, or even images, photos in order for the audience to understand fully the things that you are saying. Okay? So that is the technical style and technical format in technical writing. Audience. My sixth question is, why do we have to think about the importance of the audience? Why do we have to think about the importance of audience? 2 to 3 sentences only. Importance of audience. In writing, why do we have to consider kung sino yung audience natin? Teacher ba to? Expert ba to? Executive ba to? So, these are the things that we have to know. But first, let me give you some tips on how you're going to analyze the audience. First is know your target audience. How can we know our target audience? First is you have to identify your target audience. What do we mean by identifying the target audience? So specify the defined audience. So for example, you were writing an excuse letter and your audience or the reader of your excuse letter is your teacher. So like in the fundamental, like in the principle of technical writing, it should have an emphasis, it should have a coherence, it should have the unity of the thoughts that you are going to say. You should also consider the level of the audience, the level of the language that your audience should have. Okay? So for example, level of the degree or the level, the course or level or the educational background of the reader. If you were talking or if you're giving your excuse letter to a teacher, of course, you are going to greet in different ways. But if you were trying to ask for an information about a person who is an expert to that particular product, you can have a different way in explaining or asking questions versus, for example, you were trying to write a letter for kids or students. So you're going to use different set of language. You are going to base it to their social context or their experiences, their preference, their frames, the relational, what else? The age, and their perception filters. If their courses is, for example, they are from nursing, they are from engineering or from political science, you are going to use the technical words aligned to that profession or to that genre. So you are going to set foot, you are going to put yourself to the level of experience of the audience. If you already have defined audience, you should determine their needs. What are the things that you need to supply, or what are the things that they can supply or they can give to you? Sometimes kasi we are writing for inquiry. So letter of inquiry. You want to know something about a particular item or a service or a training or about a seminar. So you should know the audience needs if you are the writer. So for example, I'm going to write an announcement about HighFlex. So I should identify their needs. I should think about or I should anticipate their queries. And I should also anticipate how they are going to answer to the questions that I'm going to post so that we can give them full details about things, about the instructions that you were giving. Most especially, if you were trying to post an instructional video. So if ever you're writing that um you should need some feedback or some output in return, you have to be careful on how you're going to give them the instructions. So one strategy is to give them some visualization about the things that you were discussing. So that is tips on how you can identify your audience. Next is, let us move forward to kinds of audience. Now, we have 5 kinds of audience: expert, executive, operator, technician, and layman. I am going to continue my discussion synchronously with you. Okay? So let us schedule about this kinds of audience. We have 4 questions left to make it 10 points. So choose 4 from these kind of audience. So just choose 4 audiences. And then after that, I would like you to differentiate each audience. So differentiate their qualities, differentiate their preference. For example, for expert, let me discuss expert. So expert are those people with special skill or a knowledge on that particular subject matter or area. So we know kapag sinabi nating expert, they are specialists in that area. So they have this educational background um about that area or about that content that you want to ask or that you were trying to to write. And we also have to know that experts are people who have the uh, full picture of the theory and the background of the topic that that can be the topic that you were discussing or the topic that you were inquiring. We should also know that because they are specialists of this field, they have the idea on how to design it. They already tested the particular content that you have, and they know everything about it. So for example, um you, we have this particular audience that, for example, you want to um, you want to interview an engineer or a professional nurse or a a politician. I hope all of them were experts to their field. So if they are the expert in this field, they know everything about it. The background about that topic, about that subject matter. They're very confident in expressing themselves or they're sharing their experience. Okay? So those are experts. They have the advanced degree or school background, or they have this established academic settings or even research and development in that particular genre. So those are experts. We are going to continue our discussion next meeting with the kind of audience. So the seventh question that we're going to have, 7 to 10, is that choose any from the audiences that we have here from the list and differentiate or explain their describe each audiences. Okay, why do you have to consider experts, executives, operator, technicians, layman in writing? Or if you are a technical writer, why do you have to consider this kind of audience or readers? Okay? So I hope you're going to forgive me because we don't have synchronous class because of that training. We have schedule, but I do not know if all of the professor have the same schedule. So let's meet each other on Wednesday, I guess. I do not know if we don't have a class on Monday, but they said that it is a holiday. So you can rest and answer your Google Forms. Thank you so much for listening, and I am excited to meet you on the next meeting. So next meeting, we're going to discuss about classifications of writing, we are going to have breakout sessions or presentation of the classifications of writing. So for those sections that do not have any idea about the groupings, I guess this is the perfect time for you to talk about it. But let's see, let us plan about it. Thank you so much for listening, and don't forget to answer the Google form. So we have 10 items in total. So that's it. I hope to see you again. Again, I am your professor. I am your teacher in technical English, Miss Anne Figueroa. If you have any questions about the discussion, please message me on BB or post your question in our Google Sheet, in our attendance sheet. And announcement, we have technical communication book. You can get your copies at the university store. So you can pay there. You can have your copies at university store so that you can be guided or keep posted with the discussions that we have. Then again, thank you so much and see you on Wednesday or see you next meeting. Goodbye.